At a neighbor's barbecue, my wife tried to turn me into a punchline over a grill full of ribs. Instead of laughing along like the trained husband I'd been for years, I finally answered her in the same place she disrespected me. Loud enough for everyone to hear. The smoke from Mark Rivera's grill smells like mesquite and burnt sugar. It's the kind of Saturday that's supposed to be simple. Good meat, cold beer, neighbors pretending their mortgages are worth it. I'm leaning against the patio counter, flagstone under my boots, one eye on the ribs, one eye on the downtown skyline you can just barely see over the roofs. My studio's there, along with my stress, but for once it's not chewing on me. Around the table, the usual cast. Mark and his wife Carla, laughing too loud. Jenna with her yoga Pilates hybrid stories. And Dylan Brooks, the art guy from 2 houses down, wearing a linen shirt like he's on a brochure. Sophia is across from him, turned 3/4 his way. I notice eye contact before I want to. It's too clean, too eager. That tiny head tilt she doesn't know she does when she wants to be liked. I've seen it in client meetings. I've just never seen it used on a neighbor who brings his own imported olive oil to cookouts. The table talk slides into marriage and keeping passion alive. Someone asks a lazy question about keeping things spicy. This background noise while I flip ribs. Until I hear my name. Sophia lifts her beer bottle like a microphone. Ryan, she says, dragging her out in this cringe fake Spanish accent she picked up from a TikTok somewhere. He is very good with buildings. But, she pauses for effect, eyes flicking to Dylan. He doesn't really know how to please women. She laughs at her own line. No one joins her. The sound dies in the heat. You can hear the neighbor's pool pump humming. Carla looks down. Mark suddenly cares way too much about his watch. Jenna gives me that sympathetic half-smile women use when they've already decided you're harmless. Dylan just sits back, lips pressed together, like he's trying not to enjoy the show too openly. All eyes swing to me. This is the part where I usually save her. Make a joke about being in training. Shrug. Let the moment pass so everyone can breathe again. I've done it 100 times. At dinners, at parties, in front of people who forget me 5 minutes later but remember her as the fun one. I flip a rib instead. Yeah. I say calm. It's hard to please someone who treats intimacy like a chore on a spreadsheet. Sophia blinks. Excuse me. I set the tongs down. You wanted a joke. I'm fresh out. So I'll give you facts instead. No one moves. Even the grill seems quieter. For the record, I continue looking at her, not the others. I don't not know how to please women. I know exactly how to please my wife. She just hasn't been interested in being present or kind, or even awake for most of our marriage lately. Color rises in her neck. Ryan, what the hell? You brought it up, I say. My voice is level, almost conversational. You wanted the table to laugh at me. You wanted him. I nod toward Dylan without really looking. To think you're too good for the boring husband who pays for this zip code. That's fine. Just don't pretend this is playful. It's not. It's disrespectful. And it's not new. Jenna's eyes go wide. Mark mutters, hey man. Like he's supposed to moderate. Keep going. For months, I say, you've turned me into your favorite joke. I work, I cook, I clean, and you roll your eyes and talk about how some men don't know what women need. You don't touch me, you don't talk to me unless it's criticism, and then you get cute accents in public. Sophia's chair scrapes back. We're leaving. I'm not, I say. That stops her. Stop everyone. She stares at me like I've just spoken in that fake accent back at her. You humiliated me, she spits. I look at the circle of faces watching us like a live show. No, I told the truth in the same place you told a lie. That's balance. Sophia grabs her bag, sputters something about me being crazy and ungrateful, and marches toward the side gate. No one follows. The gate clicks. Her footsteps fade down the driveway. I pick the tongs back up. Mark clears his throat. You okay, man? I flip a rib, check the char, I'm good. I say, and realize it's true. There's a hollowed-out feeling in my chest. But it isn't shameful. It's space. Someone offers to wrap up the food if I need to go after her. I shake my head. Nah, She wanted an audience. I say, she got one. I'm gonna finish my beer. The air is still awkward, but I can breathe in it. For the first time in a long time, I'm not scrambling to fix the mood or repair her ego. I just stand there by the grill, turn the ribs, and let everyone sit with what happened. Relief settles in, slow and strange. Feels a lot like the first draft of freedom. The drive home should have been automatic 30 minutes of highway, radio low, brain on idle. Instead, my mind kept replaying the look Sophia gave Dylan when she tossed that line about me not pleasing women. It wasn't random. It was a performance. For him, sunset bled over the Austin skyline in the rearview. I kept seeing her turn toward him, watching his reaction like it mattered more than mine. That was the part that sat wrong in my gut. The hunger in her eyes. Not for me. Not for us. For the applause. By the time I turned into our subdivision, the anger had cooled into something worse. Clarity. Her car was in the driveway. Crooked. Not in the garage where she always insisted it belonged. The driver's door cracked open like she'd rushed inside. The hairs on my arms lifted. I killed the engine, walked over, and pulled the door fully open. There on the driver's seat was a scarf. Not hers. Too bold in color, too sharp a pattern. When I picked it up, the fabric was soft, expensive. I lifted it to my nose. Men's cologne. Not mine. It hit like a key turning in a lock. No drama, just a quiet inner click. I folded the scarf once, twice, and slid it into my back pocket. Not as evidence yet, as a reminder. Inside, the house lights were too bright. Sophia waited in the living room, arms crossed, jaw set. The TV was off. She'd been rehearsing. "We need to talk," she said without hello. "What you did at Mark's was unacceptable." I took off my shoes, hung my keys on the hook like it was any other day. "Evening to you too." She didn't smile. "You humiliated me in front of our friends. You made me look crazy. You made yourself look like someone who mocks her husband in public," I said, voice low. "All I did was stop playing along." Her eyes flashed. "It was a joke. People joke about their marriages all the time. You overreacted." I felt the edge of the scarf against my fingers in my pocket and let it ground me. "No, what I did was react. For the first time in a long time. There's a difference." She threw her hands up. "You're being dramatic, Ryan. One little comment and now you're what? Punishing me? Sulking?" "I grilled the food," I said. "You took a shot at my manhood in front of neighbors. If anyone was performing, it wasn't me." She stepped closer, finger pointed. "You embarrassed me. You owe me an apology." There was the old script laid out between us like a contract. This is where I would usually fold. Take the blame, patch her ego, tell myself peace was more important than being right. My hand tightened on the scarf. "I don't owe you an apology for finally telling the truth," I said. "I've been swallowing your digs and your disrespect for months. Tonight was the first time I said what I actually feel instead of what makes you comfortable." Sophia blinked. The speech she had loaded didn't fit anymore. "You're twisting things," she said, weaker now. "You're acting like I'm the problem. In this conversation?" I nodded. "You are. You turned me into a punchline. I told you that's over. That's not cruelty. That's a boundary." She stared at me like she didn't recognize the man standing in front of her. Maybe she didn't. I barely did. I walked past her toward the kitchen, still calm, still steady. Behind my back, the scarf pressed against my palm, that foreign cologne whispering its own story. Right there, between her outrage and my silence, I made a quiet decision. The fixer is done. The appeaser is dead. Whatever this is now, I'm not bleeding myself out to keep it standing. I wake up before my alarm. For a second, I think something's wrong. No knot in my stomach, no heaviness in my chest. Just quiet. My phone says 5:42 a.m. Sun's barely bleeding into the blinds. The house is still. Sophia turned away from me, buried in the covers like a stranger who crashed on my bed. I stare at the ceiling and realize why I feel different. Yesterday, for the first time in years, I didn't abandon myself to keep her comfortable. I get up without trying to make my movements soft. In the kitchen, I grind beans, make coffee for one, not two. No extra splash of almond milk, please. No mental checklist of what she likes. Mug in hand, I step out onto the back porch. The sky over Austin is pale orange and soft blue. I sit, breathe, and do nothing. I don't plan her day. I don't draft speeches in my head. I don't rehearse apologies I don't mean. I just drink my coffee and feel my own weight in the chair. Around 6:30, I hear the familiar upstairs shuffle. 10 minutes later, the front door doesn't open. No early gym run. Instead, she comes to the porch, robe tied tight, eyes already sharp. "So," she says, "we just don't talk about last night?" I take another sip. "We can talk. As long as it's not me pretending I did something wrong." Her jaw tenses. "You were cruel. You embarrassed me. At my friend's house. You humiliated me." I say calm. I responded. "That's not cruelty. That's balance." She launches into the usual script. How stressed she is, how I don't try anymore, how maybe we need therapy, a course, or something to fix what I don't understand about women. I let her talk until the mug was empty. "I'm going to the gym," I say, standing. "You haven't gone in months." Exactly. The weights are light and heavy at the same time. My body complains, but my head clears. I'm not training for her approval. I'm just reminding myself I exist outside her moods. When I come home, sweat-soaked and loose, she looks thrown off. "This is my new routine," I tell her. "Coffee, gym, my time, every day." That evening she switches tactics. Cooks dinner, opens a bottle of wine, voice suddenly soft. "Maybe we should take a course together," she says. "You know, to learn how to please women better, how to communicate." I smile a little, not at her, at the full circle. "Good idea," I say. "I'm already enrolled." "In what?" "Photography, Spanish, maybe a new instrument." I meet her eyes. "Mostly in learning how to please myself. Turns out I've been neglecting that for years." She frowns. "That's not what I meant." "I know," I say. "That's the point." For the first time, her disappointment feels small. My life doesn't. The funny thing about finally setting a boundary is what it does to your eyes. Once you stop lying to yourself, you start seeing everything else that's been a lie, too. The scarf in the car doesn't leave my mind. Neither does the way her gym trips never match the level of perfume, hair, and outfits she leaves the house in. Nobody dresses like that to sweat, so I start small. Every time she leaves for the gym, I glance at the clock, snap a quick photo of the odometer on my phone. When she gets back, I check again. The numbers don't add up to the route she claims. Her leggings get tighter, her tops get lower, her attitude gets lighter when she's working on herself. Meanwhile, there's no soreness, no new muscle, no laundry basket full of used workout clothes. Just different lipstick on different days. I don't accuse. I don't pry. I just observe, like I'm studying a building for cracks. After a week of this, I called a number a contractor friend once gave me for when you really need to know. Frank Morales meets me in a strip mall office that smells like bad coffee and old paper. Late 50s, ex-cop face, eyes that miss nothing. "I'm not here to save my marriage," I tell him. "I just want the truth on paper." He nods like he's heard that 100 times. Name, routine, suspected boyfriend? I give him Sophia's schedule, Dylan's name, what I know, apartment complex, car model, places they like to brag about online. He writes it all down, no judgment, no pep talk. I don't need sympathy. I need proof. The first report comes in 3 days. Email. Photos. Sophia in her gym leggings, walking into Dylan's upscale complex. Her getting out of her car near a tucked-away restaurant. Dylan holding the door like it's a date. Them sitting too close in a quiet coffee shop on the other side of town. Heads tilted together. My stomach doesn't drop. It just settles. Suspicion turns into confirmation. That's all. Then Frank calls. "You mentioned she handles your business finances," he says. "You might want to get an outside set of eyes on that, too." So I hired an auditor who doesn't know us and doesn't care about our Christmas photos. Just numbers. Within a week, I have a different kind of report, transfers from my studio's accounts into a consulting shell company, then from there into an offshore account with her name on it. Payments that line up a little too neatly with Dylan's rent and Sophia's shopping. That's the moment the last of the doubt dies. This isn't just a disrespectful wife. This is someone stealing from my work to fund her side life. I still haven't confronted her. Instead, I bought an external hard drive. I print statements. I save every file, every screenshot, every photo from Frank, and tuck backups in places she'll never think to look. She thinks she's running circles around the old version of me. She has no idea I'm already building the exit. Once you see someone's willing to steal from you, the little things stop feeling little. 4 years, I was the background system that kept Sophia's life running. Coffee, groceries, laundry, meals, bills, quiet, constant, invisible. She called it how things just are. So I turn it off. No speech, no drama, just a series of choices. Next morning, I made coffee. 1 mug, mine. I eat eggs and toast. 1 plate, mine. I rinse it, set it in the rack, and leave for the gym. When I come back, she's in pajamas at the kitchen island, empty mug in front of her like a crime scene. "Did you forget to make coffee?" she asks. "No," I say, grabbing a glass of water. "I made mine." She waits. And you can make yours." The machine still works. Her eyebrows pull together. That's the first crack. At the store, I buy what I like. My yogurt, my snacks, my meals. No her section in the cart. No mental inventory of her favorite brands. Come home, unpack. She walks in as I'm closing the fridge. "You didn't get my yogurt," she says. "I didn't eat your yogurt," I answered. "Figured if you want something, you'll get it. You have a card, phone." She huffs, annoyed but not alarmed yet. "Wow, pretty much. Much more adult," I say and walk past her. On laundry day, I sort my clothes into the machine. For the first time in years, I don't grab her hamper. When she passes by, she barely glances at it. She's used to the magic. 2 days later, I'm folding my shirts on the couch when she storms in holding a pair of inside-out leggings and an empty underwear drawer. "Did you not do my laundry?" she demands. I keep folding. "Nope, I did mine." Her voice jumps. "Ryan, I don't have any clean underwear." "You're an adult woman with access to detergent," I say. "You'll figure it out." She stares at me like I've slapped her. This is insane. I can't keep track of everything. I look up. I did for years. For both of us. You called it the bare minimum. I'm done doing the bare minimum for someone who gives me bare respect. The breaking point comes on a Thursday. She offers to cook to help out, loads a pan, and burns a simple chicken dinner while scrolling on her phone. The smoke alarm chirps once. She slams the pan in the sink, near tears. "I can't live like this," she says, gesturing at the kitchen. "No coffee, no groceries I like, no help with anything. This is miserable." I'm leaning against the counter, plate in hand, eating the meal I prepped for myself earlier in the week. Calm, full. "You mean you can't live without a husband you treat like a maid, a chef, and an emotional punching bag?" I say. This is just adult life. Welcome." Her eyes well up. "Can we just go back to normal, please? You used to do things for me. You used to care." I set my plate down, look her in the eye. "I did all of that while you mocked me, lied to me, and used my work to fund your second life." I say quietly. Normal was me draining myself for a woman who thought I was a joke. Normal cost me my self-respect. She steps closer, tears rolling now. "So that's it? You're just done being my husband?" "I'm done being your unpaid employee," I correct. "What happens to the marriage after that is up to reality, not my effort." She sobs. I don't move to comfort her. That part of the job description has been terminated too. I rinse my plate, set it in the rack next to my mug, and leave her alone in the kitchen with the smoke and the dirty pan and the life she never noticed I was holding up. The first counterattack comes through the phone. I'm at my desk downtown, redlining a set of drawings, when Linda Reyes flashes on the screen. Sophia's mother. I already know this won't be about blueprints. I answer, hello, Linda. She doesn't waste time. Ryan, what you did to Sophia at that barbecue was cruel. She is devastated. You embarrassed her in front of everyone. There it is, the script, version 2. I lean back in my chair, looking out over the city I actually built something in. She told you I embarrassed her. I say, did she tell you what she said? It was a joke, Linda snaps. Couples joke. You should have been a gentleman and laughed it off. She told the entire table I don't know how to please women. I say, voice flat. That's not a joke. That's contempt. It's been going on for months. I just stopped pretending it was funny. Silence on the line. I can hear her breathing. Linda, I continue, your daughter hasn't cooked, cleaned, or contributed in any real way for a long time. She spends my money, mocks me in public, and then runs to you for cover when I finally stop groveling. You're getting the edited version. You're making her cry, she says, smaller now. She made this bed. I say, I'm just not fluffing the pillows anymore. I hung up. No slamming, no extra words. The air feels lighter. That evening, Sophia storms into the living room, eyes blazing. You made my mother cry, she says. I can't believe you talked to her like that. My phone is already on the coffee table, voice recorder running. I told her the truth, I say. If that makes her cry, maybe the problem isn't me. She rants, accuses, and circles. I keep coming back to facts. What she said at the barbecue, what she doesn't do at home, what I've stopped doing. Every time she tries to twist, I repeat the original point. Calm, steady, documented. A few days later, her sister Michelle shows up with the "we're worried about you" tone. Maybe you should try therapy, Michelle says at the dining table. Sophia says you just shut down. I stopped volunteering for disrespect, I answered. Different thing. I walk her through the one-sided reality. My hours, my chores, Sophia's endless criticism. Michelle starts the visit ready to fix me. She leaves quieter, like someone who's seen behind a curtain and doesn't like the wiring. Then comes the second party, her cousin's birthday. Same social circle, same backyard, even the same folding chairs. People watch us like we're a sequel. Sophia shows up in full performance mode. Hand on my arm, fake laughs, calling me babe, loud enough for neighbors to hear. Dylan lurks around the edges, pretending to be fascinated by the beer cooler. At one point, Jenna drifts over. It's good you two are working through your little issue, she says softly. Every couple has something. I take a sip of beer, look her in the eye. That night wasn't an issue, I say. It was a solution. I stopped letting my wife turn me into a punchline. The conversation around us dips. People hear it even if they pretend they don't. Sophia stiffens beside me, smile glued on. Dylan looks away. The quiet that follows isn't hostile this time. It's respect reclaiming space. Sunday morning, I come back from the gym dripping sweat, mind quiet. I walk in expecting an empty house. Instead, my living room looks like a courtroom. Linda on the edge of the couch, Daniel in the armchair like a disappointed judge, Michelle with a notebook vibe, and Eric leaning on the wall with his arms folded. Sophia sits in the middle of them, eyes shiny, face arranged into wounded wife. Linda speaks first. We need to talk. I toss my gym bag by the stairs, take in the formation. Looks like you already decided what I'm supposed to hear. Daniel clears his throat. Son, we're concerned. Sophia tells us you've stopped being a husband over one argument. One joke, Linda adds. You overreacted and now you're punishing her. That's not right. I walk to the recliner opposite them, sit down. I don't slouch. I don't pace. I let the silence stretch until they start fidgeting. Let's be precise, I say. Sophia didn't make one joke. She's been disrespecting me for months. The barbecue was just the first time she had an audience big enough to really enjoy it. Michelle leans forward. She said you're making everything bigger than it is. I turn my head to Sophia. Great, let's clear it up. Repeat exactly what you said at that barbecue. Word for word. Color floods her face. Ryan, this is childish. Say it. I cut in. In front of your family. No one moves. She swallows. I joked that you don't know how to please women. And you added I needed a course for it. I say. Right? She doesn't answer. She doesn't need to. The room heard enough. I look back at her parents. That's your daughter's idea of a harmless joke. In a crowd. After months of doing the same thing in smaller rooms. Daniel shifts, uncomfortable. Well, marriage is work. Maybe you could both. Sure. I say. Let's talk about work. Sophia, do me a favor. List your contributions to this household in the last year. Cooking, cleaning, bills, errands. Start anywhere. She opens her mouth. Close it. I handle the emotional load, she says finally. I nod slowly. Right? Meanwhile, I run a business, pay the mortgage, do the cooking, most of the cleaning, and run all the errands. She complained the whole time. The air tightens. Nobody rushes to disagree. I let them sit in that, then drop the next piece. And that's just disrespectful, I say. We haven't even touched the little financial transactions she's been moving around. Linda's head snaps up. What financial transactions? Sophia stiffens. Ryan, don't. Studio income, I say. She never had a right to touch. Money that didn't stay in our marriage. I've got professionals looking at it now. The Reyes family energy shifts hard. Suddenly this isn't a cute intervention anymore. It's a liability. Maybe this is something you two should handle privately, Daniel says, already half standing. No need to drag us into business stuff. I smile, small and cold. Already dragged. I've hired lawyers, auditors, private investigator. This isn't about a joke anymore. This is about respect, betrayal, and money that went missing. Eric clears his throat. Yeah. Probably best you guys work it out with professionals. They start backing toward the door, mumbling about space and time to cool off. Sophia looks at me, panic flashing through the hurt expression she wore when I walked in. She expected them to put a leash on me. Instead, they saw just enough truth to get out of the blast radius. I watched them leave my house one by one and realized something simple. I'm already gone. My body's still here, but the version of me who lived for their approval walked out the night she tried to execute me over a grill. Once I said lawyers out loud in that living room, everything got simpler. I pulled Sophia off every access point she had to my studio. Accounts, passwords, cards. Quietly, professionally. I told my staff, we're tightening controls, and left her name out of it. No big speech. Just a locked door where she used to stroll in. The auditor finished his report first. The numbers were brutal and clean. About $165,000 redirected over 2 years. Money that left client invoices, bypassed operating expenses, and landed in places that had nothing to do with architecture. The consulting shell, the offshore account, transfers that lined up with Dylan's rent and her little luxury sprints. My attorney, a calm guy named Ellis, spread the paperwork on his conference table like blueprints. These aren't messy feelings, he said. This is embezzlement and marital waste. The court will care. By the time the court date landed, about 2 months after the barbecue, I was past anger. Just ready. Family courtroom. Beige walls, bad lighting, rows of chairs that make everyone look smaller. On one side, me and Ellis, the stack of evidence in front of us. On the other, Sophia in a conservative dress she never wears in real life, her lawyer talking fast in her ear. The judge read, asked questions, flipped between Frank's photos and the bank records, the timelines, the transfers. Sophia's attorney tried to sell it as marital finances and miscommunication, insisting the affair was emotionally complicated but irrelevant. Ellis stayed on the rails. These accounts were business, not joint. This money went to a third party with no connection to the studio. These dates matched her trips and Dylan's bills. At one point, the judge took off his glasses and just stared at the ledger pages. No speech, no judgment. Just that long, quiet look that says someone's story has finally run out of room. He called a recess, came back, said a ruling would follow in writing. We walked out into the Texas heat. Same sun as the barbecue, different man under it. Sophia hurried ahead with her lawyer, whispering. I stopped on the courthouse steps, loosened my tie, and felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Not victory, not revenge. Freedom, like the truth I'd been living for months had finally been stamped, filed, and entered into the record. We hit the parking lot like two different weather systems. I'm walking like a man who just finished something. She's walking like a woman trying to outrun it. Ryan, wait, she calls. I stop beside my truck, hand on the door handle, and really look at her for the first time in months. Makeup can't hide the dark circles. The arrogance she wore at that barbecue is gone, stripped down to fear and exhaustion. Her voice cracks. What do you want from me? For a second, the old reflex kicks in, the urge to give her a roadmap to make this easier to fix. I push it down. Honestly, I say, nothing. The word hangs there between us. Her face crumples like I slapped her with it. That's not fair, she says. You have to want something. We can work on this. I can go to therapy. I can do more around the house. I can stop making jokes. I shake my head. You don't get it. Of course I want things. I want respect. I want appreciation. I want a partner who doesn't see me as a prop or a wallet. I just finally understand you're not capable of giving that. Tears spill over. I can change. If I hadn't stood up to you at the barbecue, I ask, would you have changed? She opens her mouth. Nothing comes out. If I hadn't found the scarf, I continue, hadn't hired Frank, hadn't uncovered the money you moved, would you have woken up one morning and decided to be loyal and honest on your own? Silence stretches. Her shoulders sag. Probably not, she whispers. That's the point, I say. You're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry you're losing control. She steps closer, desperate. Tell me what you want so I can fix this. I pull my keys from my pocket, feel the metal bite my palm. You didn't lose me in there. I nod toward the courthouse. You lost me the night you looked at another man while you tried to execute me over a grill. Today just made it official. She starts crying harder. I don't move toward her. That job is vacant. I meant what I said. I add, what I want from you now is nothing. No apology I have to coach you through. No performance. No version of you built just to keep me from leaving. Keep all that. I open the truck door and climb in. As I pull out of the lot, I talk to the part of me that used to live for her approval the way I've been talking to you this whole time. The real course was never about learning how to please women. It was about learning how to please myself by choosing self-respect over a marriage built on contempt. Sometimes the strongest thing a man can want from someone who betrayed him is exactly what I want from Sophia now. Absolutely nothing.